Hello, hello. Hey, Thaddeus. Griff. Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. How's everybody doing this evening? What's new and exciting? I have been out of touch with reality for about 12 days now. As I've been going pretty hard on our Pax Dei launch, but crawling out from under my rock again this week. Got a couple videos that should be dropping on the channel this week after a little bit of a hiatus there outside of the live stuff, so I'm excited about that. Hello. Fine gaming connoisseur, how are you? Thanks for coming out. Hmm. Whoops. Hmm. Technical difficulties here. Am I loving PAX Day so far? Yeah, we're having a blast with it. We got a pretty large group. Tonight we are getting combat experience for some of the new folks who haven't been out yet. I've been basically living in Lioness myself. My combat skills are pretty elevated. We got, I don't know, we got around 15 to 20 people who've been living out there in the PvP zone. But a lot of people have been on the gathering and crafting grind, and those are the people we are leveling the skills for tonight so that we can get them out. Fighting. What about you, Willie? Have you played? Or are you playing something else at the moment? Sir Thaddeus, am I enjoying the healer class? Absolutely I am. I think they did it pretty well. The abilities are interesting. I think combat in general is feeling pretty good in this game. You know, I think that was a sore spot for a long time, and I think they've addressed it. There feels like sufficient depth now. Enough decision making to go around to make builds interesting. Yeah, it's come a long way since I played it in early access. I played, you know, the very first couple months of early access and then took a long break until release, so it's been night and day in my experience. Can other players see you on the map? Only if they're in your clan or if they are nearby. I actually don't know if that's true in Lioness or not, but I know in the home valleys and in the wildlands, if you're close enough to somebody to hear their character, I believe, then they will show on your map as white dots, and everybody in your clan shows as a turquoise dot. I'll bring the map up here in a second and see what I'm talking about. So Thaddeus, you do need to get out here. Right now we're just on camps in the home valleys, well, in the wildlands. These are pretty straightforward. You can join us either here or in Lioness. You get more XP in Lioness, there's a 50% XP increase, but of course you got players to contend with, which I find fun. The early days in Lioness were pretty empty, but it's starting to get a little more foot traffic out there. And some more encounters. It's been a blast. But in the wildlands here, you're safe from PvP if PvE is more your speed. Your Torn Sword beside Great Sword and Axe, they're both good weapons. That's for sure. We have multiple groups out here doing this at the same time, so that's why you see a mix of green and blue health bars. The blue ones are from another group of ours. We're grinding up a bunch of people tonight. In a typical dungeon group, you want multiple great swords and one great axe. I don't know if that helps your decision making, but you definitely want one great axe because that provides the armor debuffing and lets the great swords maximize the damage. So, and the great axe brings good damage on its own, but it's definitely a slightly more of a utility weapon than the great sword. Great sword's all about burst. I do think, oh no, never mind. I was thinking about the spear there for a second. What I said about the great axe is true though. I've only been playing Battlefield 6 recently. Haven't followed Pax Dei closely. Lost my group. I have not been following Pax Dei closely, but that UR means it's tech advanced. What's the best feature? I would say of all the games that I'm following, Pax Dei is the least tech advanced. It is the most... it has followed the most pragmatic path of all the upcoming MMOs. The ones I'm thinking about are Star Citizen, Ashes of Creation, and Pax Dei. Of those three, Pax Dei took the most straightforward approach. But it has also delivered years before the others. So take that for what you will. And you know, that's what I expected to be the case. I expected Pax Dei to land first and provide us a couple years of entertainment while we wait for the others. Oh. I don't know if you know, we'll see if Ash's investment pays off or not. That's going to be interesting because Both Ashes and Pax Dei are built on Unreal 5. They both use the Unreal 5 service workers, all that. The only thing that Ashes of Creation did differently is they replaced the networking stack with their own custom networking stack, while Pax Dei used the one bundled with Unreal Engine 5 and the Unreal servers. You know, there's a lot of other differences between Ashes and Pax, but obviously Pax Dei has beat Ashes to market by a year or two, at least. It's going to really depend on what Pax Dei does in the next year or two, how the race between Pax and Ashes is going to look, in my mind. It's going to be interesting. You know, for a long time, the MMO scene was kind of stagnant, and I think we're going to see it heating up again. Is combat physicalized? What do you mean by physicalized? Like you can't run through mobs. You know, there's now with your other players you can, but mobs block. Now in PvP, other players will block you too, like body blocking, that kind of thing. If you can't run through people. So in that way, it's physicalized. Are all the armors the same? The way that you customize your character in Pax Dei is through your armor and weapons. So every weapon has a set of abilities associated with it, and each piece of armor, most of the pieces of armor, have abilities associated with them. So depending on what armor you wear and what weapons you equip, that determines your ability loadout. There is no class. Like the way you play is just determined by what you wear. So there's a lot of different chase items and different armors. You know, there's reasons to run difficult dungeons, to find the boss mobs, to, you know, get the rare things so that you can craft the better gear. We're nowhere near in the best gear yet. You know, we're only 12 days in, so there's a lot of chase items for us to maintain still, and everything eventually wears out and breaks too, so it's not like you get a chase item and then you're done. Eventually it's going to break, wear out, and you're going to have to replace that, so, you know. You have to make sure that the loadout and quality of the loadout is sustainable for you and your clan. How far away do I think dynamic server meshing is in Star Citizen? Depends on what you mean by dynamic server meshing. You know, as Benoit pointed out in his last series, and which made a lot of sense to me, was that you're not going to see a big bang release of dynamic server meshing like you did with static, right? Like static was a clear line in the sand that said, okay, static is now here. But with dynamic, we're just going to see incremental progress towards dynamic over a long period of time. And so there's a lot of things between now and the final state of dynamic server meshing that we will get piecemeal. You know, for example, one stepping stone between now and then will be a static territory map. So like they'll zone where servers could be, and then the dynamic piece will be spinning servers up and down as load changes. So the final version, for example, will have the Atlas process, I believe they're calling it, which will determine the zone boundaries automatically. So that's the point you'll be at whenever, or that will be the point we need to be at before you can have something like a server dedicated to a large capital ship, right? But there's in-between states between now and there where things will be happening dynamically, servers will be scaling up and down dynamically, but the map of servers will not change dynamically. That'll be static. I think we could see that this year. 2026, I mean. The upcoming year. I don't expect full-blown, all-feature complete dynamic server meshing in 2026, though. That's probably more of a 2027, 2028 thing. But again, we'll see. If I had to guess, I would say 2028. Sometime in 2028 for feature complete dynamic server meshing. But it really depends. You know, like you can push dynamic, or you can push static a long way, and especially if they start incrementally delivering some of these things, like the ability to scale up, scale down with a static map, I mean, that can buy them even more time. Really up to the bean counters. How fast we see dynamic. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, Griff. Definitely think you're right. It's years away. I think 2028 is a realistic, near final rendition of DSM. But I think we could see partial DSM in 2026, 2027. But again, things change quick, you know? Like, it could be prioritized or deprioritized at any point. Depending on how, like, Squadron 42's launch goes, and so on and so forth. Hey, all of our groups are together here. You like what you're hearing? The idea that the items grant abilities can add a lot in the long run? Yeah, definitely. It's a very solid horizontal progression foundation. That they have durability gives some decent loop, yep. Yeah, I think there's a very long-lasting loop here. Keeping yourself in the gear and the quality that you want to be in. It is full loop PvP in the PvP zone Lioness. You don't have to go to Lioness, but that is where a lot of the endgame resources are going to be. So if you ever played EVE Online, it's going to be similar to, you know, I expect people to have multiple sets of gear. You'll have your PvP set, which is your more maintainable set. You know, you're not going to want to risk everything out there, perhaps, unless you're a pusher like some of our guys are. They will take their best out there. They will not hesitate to lose it for the chance of getting other people's best stuff. So. You get to decide the level of risk you want to take, which is nice. Because as you advance through the different tiers of materials, you know, there's certain things that are going to be very easy to craft and replace, and so you're not going to really mind losing it. Well, a lot of people have a hard time with getting over the whole possibility of gear loss thing, but it's really not a big deal whenever it's easy to replace. That's the trick. That's what a lot of player lootable games don't get right. It's one thing I worry that Ashes is not getting right. You know, Ashes has a hell of a grind. It does not have a durability system, which I think is a big flaw. So once you collect your best gear, you're basically done, unless you risk it in PvP, which now is going to feel like a tremendous loss if you actually lose it by going red or something like that. I don't know. I think there's a lot of flaws in that approach, personally, and I hope we see an evolution of that in Ashes. But I think the model that Pax Dei has followed is pretty sound. We've seen it work really well in games like EVE Online. I think it's going to work really well here. I have high hopes. careful with TP. He's a feisty one? Yeah, you ain't kidding. He is a feisty one. We'll manage TP. You don't worry, Frozen. I've been playing a few hours a week of Pax Dei. It's rough trying to be a solo hermit. I keep running into things I want to craft that require a new skill level, yeah. Griff, trying to do everything in this game will take you literally a year. You will be at it for a year if you want to level all your professions to max. And that's a year of hard playing, not like casual play. That's a year of going at it. And that's just the current max level crafting in the game. You know, crafting professions currently max out at 40. Hold on a second, I gotta concentrate here for a moment. People taking a lot of damage. Out of mana. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, the grind is insane. Why our group is funneling a core set of crafters just to get them maxed out, and then we'll all transition to doing our own thing. Once our core crafters are up to a level where they can craft anything in the game for anybody, then everybody will kind of pursue their own independent path after that. The only way to ensure the entire clan has access to everything and to be competitive out in the PvP zone. There's just no other way. Because if another guild does it, they're going to kick our butts. So, our hands are tied on that one. Wiggy thinks Albion Online is a great example of all player crafted gear working in a full loot game with risk reward and how cheap the gear is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I keep hearing Albion Online is another good example. I've never played it, but people I talk to, whenever I compare this to like EVE Online, a lot of time Albion Online comes up as another compelling example of this stuff working well. And Albion Online, their population just keeps going up from what I've seen on charts. So obviously people like the recipe. If you look at the Steam charts for Pax Dei, they keep looking pretty good so far too since launch. First week, the numbers week over week increased. It's a good sign. Gotta buff myself here. The glass grind for alchemy to make new stabs is brutal. Yeah. I've heard the glass grind is beautiful. Is brutal. I think we're up to tier 3. We're tier 3 everything. We're our leather worker is at he can make tier 4 stuff already. He's 30 something. A lot of our other crafting professions are mid to high 20s. A few of them are lagging a little bit behind that, but yeah, we are on the sprint to steel at the moment. Hey Hawks, thanks for popping in, man. Just talking about the sprint that our crafters are in. I'm definitely interested in playing more, but I fear that the Enshrouded Update 7 coming on 11.10 will pull me away for a bit. Enshrouded's a great game. I love Enshrouded. The one feature Enshrouded has, I wish Pax Dei had, but I understand why it doesn't, is terraforming. I love that you can dig tunnels and all that kind of stuff in Enshrouded. That's really cool. But, yeah. I played Enshrouded when it first came out in early access. We played for a couple weeks as a group. Had a lot of fun in it. I haven't checked back any of the updates, though. At some point in the future, I'm sure I will. We won't have barley armor anytime soon. Yeah. Barley raw grind is real, too. Also, Star Citizen 4.4, I'm all in on. Whatever happens. Yeah? Curious about Levesky? Yeah, I can't wait to see Levesky either. I will definitely be playing Star Citizen 4.4. I'll be playing 4.3.2 as well. I'm probably gonna... I'm thinking about live streaming our next Star Citizen operation, which would be Saturday. The next Saturday, this coming Saturday. 6 days from now. We'll be doing a Star Citizen operation. I'm thinking about joining that and live streaming that instead of PAX for a change, so people can see what that looks like in the guild, or in our corporation. And we'll definitely be taking a look at Levesky whenever that ships. I don't know that, whoa, what the hell just happened? I just got teleported out. A lot of stuff. Sorry, I'm focused for a moment here. A lot of mobs. Okay, run. So we pulled way too many healers there. There's a type of mob that can heal quite a bit, and I guess we pulled several of them. Could not overcome the healing. Our blacksmith is 32. Nice. $32 is a very good number. I think our leatherworker just hit 33. $432 is a mess right now. Very good time to take a break, is it? That's what I've been hearing. That's why I wasn't really in a rush to put Pax Dei down and check it out. I've been hearing pretty bad reports about it. So, as people probably know by now, I don't hesitate to take a break from Star Citizen when it's in that kind of a state. I'm in it for the long haul, you know. I'll definitely play whenever things are good, but I don't mind taking a break from it. Someday, it'll be the only game I play for forever, probably, so I figure no harm in enjoying other games until that day comes. There we go, level 25 Van Braces. Those who don't know, your like the armor you wear that I just explained, you know, your abilities and stuff comes from the gearing that you choose. You level each piece, each slot up individually. And whatever level that slot is at, it affects the item power and how much you gain from that armor, basically. .4 will be a mess as well, but that's what I expect to happen. Yeah, probably. But I'll be checking it out. If it's terrible, you know, I'll play less. If it's really good, I'll play more. That's just how we roll. How I roll. I'm really hoping to see Engineering Tech Preview go live this week, and we will get some leaks. I would love to see anything about engineering or any new game system. I've been waiting for that, feels like all year. I'm with you. Definitely eager to get my hands on engineering and see how it changes the way capital ships feel in general. That'll be some good content and some new like a new way of seeing the larger ships, which I'm looking forward to. It feels like just too long. It's been so easy to just take one person in a capital ship and be effective. Especially the Idris. I'm hoping engineering starts to break that down a little bit. I'm stuck. Just trying to get to the other side. There we go. Keep doing that. There's a person in chat named Pie who says he likes pie. I hope they make archery viable soon, Sir Thaddeus. Me too. I like playing ranged. One of the reasons I'm playing a healer. The only viable range in the game right now, so I'm there. That's where I'm at. They said they're going to be bringing the bow back and making it effective. The bow has no abilities right now, as we were talking about earlier. Like, that's how you put abilities on your bar. You see my bottom bar there, I have, 7 abilities down there. They all come from various gear. The 3 on the left are from my weapon. You get 3 abilities from your weapon. You get 4 from your armor. Right now, if you equip a bow, it has no abilities. So you don't get any weapon abilities if you have a bow equipped, but that's going to be changing according to mainframe. They are going to be adding skills to the bow. And I'm hoping that whenever they do that, they also rebalance the damage and make it at least somewhat effective. I appreciate that they don't want to, like, a ranged, dodgy meta. Like, they also, for folks who don't know, like, they're not putting dodge in the game. They really want, like, a visceral, toe-to-toe feel for combat in this game, which I appreciate. But I would like to see ranged, like a bow, be able to make some contributions to a fight. Even if it's not meta. Again, I can understand that. Yeah, but that's entirely new content. 4.3.2, they broke a lot of systems. In Onyx, the code doors for Hyperion don't align with the code readout. Blocking progression. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard they hotfixed it, though. Is that not fixed yet? Zilius? And today, the contract service pretty much stopped working. Couldn't take contracts at all. Or only with delays. Status went to degraded for a few hours. Oof. Has there been any kind of messaging from the devs? I have not been on Spectrum lately. Do they have any kind of thoughts or ideas that they're publicizing on what's causing this? I'd be curious. Might be worth digging into. Wiggy Jess got back into Star Cities again, took out the Mantis and went fishing. But seemed a lot of the missions were bugged right now. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too, Wiggy. I haven't played since 4.3.2 dropped. 4.3.1 was working pretty well for me. 4.3.1 felt very stable, so I'm surprised 4.3.2 is in such a bad state. Seems like we had some kind of regression. I know the targeting system has F key assistance outside of this 16:9 viewport, but yikes. That's a mess of overhead health bars. Yeah, it is, Elise. And yeah, you can't see the bars on the left-hand side of my screen because I play on an ultra wide, so I only broadcast the center of my screen. But yeah, I keep glancing. That's why you keep seeing me look this way, because I'm glancing over at the party frames, which has the F key assistance. I play with an Azeron, and I have all the function keys bound to these fingers. I certainly cannot make out individual healths whenever we're in a clump with just the overhead unit frames, or the overhead health bars. They need bows with the gear that lets you turn invisible, would allow for some fun crits. Yeah. The ambush chest you're talking about. It's a leather one. Whoops. Only have my eye on SC testing chat. Proxus from CIG came in and gave a few notes on the status, but nothing detailed. Yeah. Be cool if they did a retrospective of some kind. I love digging into that kind of thing. Always a learning opportunity, even if it's not your mess. I like learning. Learning from other people's messes is better than learning from your own. You know what I mean? So, I would love some kind of a detailed retro. I think I lurked last time you streamed this. You showed the menu then? Yeah. Yeah, what you can see is the center of the screen. Like if I push one of my healing keys, one of my targeted healing keys, like R, you'll see a menu pop up with all the function keys for each of the party members there. F1 being yourself. Boom. 12-button mouse guy since Warhammer Online back in the day. Yeah. Helps, Wiggy. Alright, we're going back to the Petromay. Yeah, I use the Azeron, so I don't really need that many buttons on my mouse, but yeah. Sometimes I wouldn't mind an extra button or two on the mouse. I've tried the 12 button on the side, but I cannot get the muscle memory for it. Even this Azeron took me probably 2 months of constant use before I felt comfortable with it. To be fair, I did not put that kind of time into the 12-button mouse. I got frustrated with it pretty quick, unfortunately. Someday I'm gonna have to give it a shot again. What server region did we settle in? We are on Selene as the name of the server, which is the normal server. And then the province we are on is Inisgalia, and the region is Langris. If you look at the map. We're right outside the Metro Day in Langris. You can see the blue dots all over the map. That's a bunch of our clan members. We also have a bunch of clan members in Lioness right now, which you can't see. But yeah. I'll give you a tour of our castle here. This is the main Metro Day for Inniscalia. So if you choose Inniscalia as your region, you will start here. And you can run straight out of here and run right into our castle. This whole area, as far as you can see from the left to the right, and all the way back this valley, it's all our plots. Up here on the hill is our market square at the moment. This is where we're posting everything for sale, so if you want to come buy anything, you can do it here. We got all these stalls here, go up these steps here. We got more stalls up here. We got one right there. Bunch up here. Basically all these have things posted for sale on them. We've been getting a good bit of foot traffic on the market. A lot of people are coming in, buying stuff. I think we're one of the more advanced crafting guilds on the server at the moment, so that'll last until such time that we're not. Also, we got all these benches here, so you can repair anything you need to repair. Here's our castle gate. You can go in F10 mode here, and for those who don't know, you got a free camera in Pax Dei. You can kind of float around. Get a view of the of our digs. Obviously the castle's not done yet, but I think that's our architect running around down there, working diligently at finishing this thing up. Got some of these portcullis looking things, which I love. Here's our PvP meeting room. Got the round table here. Over there's our armory, where all of our PvP gear is stored, so that if we were ever to wipe out in the PvP zone and lose our gear, this is where we come back to and re-outfit. Assuming we don't have outfits out there, which most of us do. Most of us can get re-geared right in the PvP zone, but worst case scenario, this is where all of our stuff is stockpiled. Here's some of the castle in progress rooms. This is our smithy area. This is where we're crafting all of the armor and metal weaponry. It's all pretty well organized in there. Underneath this room, whoops. Sorry, this camera's a little funny. But if you walk down from the smithy, you can walk down into where all the furnaces are burning. Smelting all of the ingots that they need to craft their stuff. You go out the back of here. This is our kitchen area. This has not yet been moved back into the castle, what it's going to be. So early on we set up just temporary production facilities out behind the castle, where we were doing all of our production until the castle was stood up. So eventually all this kitchen stuff will move into the castle proper somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to end up yet, but it'll be in here somewhere. And then behind the castle is just going to become a village. So from the Pax Dei there is the castle, and then all this back here, all the way to the lake, is all owned by clan members. All of our plots cover this land all the way down to the lake, and so we expect this area back here to just be a village. Everybody building their own personal structures. As you can see, they've already begun. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, no free cam in PvP zones. And you can't really use this free cam to scout people out anyway. Like if you fly far away from yourself, as you can see, it stops rendering people. So you can't really see what people are doing. You can see the structures. But like I can't come over here and just spy on somebody to see what they're doing. It doesn't work quite like that. It won't even render NPCs after a certain distance. Like you can't see where the NPCs are or anything like that. Sorry, I'm catching up on some of the comments. I don't need it. What's the max party size? 6? You have 6 people in a party. That's the max at the moment. Retrospective would be great, but they usually don't do those for simple service degradation. Yeah. Was new to the genre and played a magus who had hot bars everywhere. Oh, you're talking about Warhammer Online? I never played Warhammer Online. I always wished I had. I was big in World of Warcraft whenever World or Warcraft Online came out. Or, sorry. Warhammer. If it's the one I think of, that you're thinking of. Or talking about. If this is a PvP region, you just opened your group to stream snipers? No, this is not a PvP region. I wouldn't have done that. Zealous. If we were out in the PvP zone, I would not open the map. Oh, nice. My first home when the early access launched was in Tecassus in Escalia. Glad to hear the group is getting ahead well. Build looks like it's shaping up well. Love the protocols. Yeah. Thanks, Ridiculous. Me too. Yeah, this stuff looks great at night. Yeah, no free cam with PvP zones. So the net states only get bound within a short radius? Yes. Correct, Zulus. There is no raid group of groups, no, not yet. I think that is something that is on their to-do list. I know there's more PvE content they're planning, but it doesn't prevent parties from working together. Only one party gets XP though, so what we do is we go into a dungeon, for example, with 3 groups. Remember, all things in this game are open, so like the dungeons are not instanced. If multiple groups go into a dungeon, they're all going to be in the same instance of the dungeon together. And so often we will take 2 or 3 groups into a dungeon and we'll just leapfrog each other. Like group 1 will pull, and then group 2 will race ahead of that group and pull the next pack, and group 3 will go ahead of that group and pull the next pack, and they'll just leapfrog each other that way. Some of these dungeons are clear enough to support that. Hopefully they make a much larger party size available soon. What's your take on that limitation and when they might be able to increase it? That seems like a hard thing to do. In PAX? Nah, it wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, the most difficult thing would be the healing interface, honestly, because right now the healing interface is very dependent upon function keys. They would need to add some kind of a point and click raid healing interface if they were going to do that. So that would be some UI work. Wouldn't be monumental, but am I good for what? We're going to be doing the same thing? Yeah, sure, I'm good. I'm good to go. Oh yeah, there's a good, at least 10-minute delay on stream, but yeah, the Magus was a pet class like Warlock from WoW. I don't think there's a 10-minute... There's not quite a 10-minute delay, Wiggy. I just, I'm slow at responding to the comments. I'm kind of catching up, and I'm rambling, so it's taking me a bit to, like, get back to the last comment. So, my bad. Yeah. I think it was my fault. I think I was just very delayed in responding to your comment. I was also listening to what our group is doing. Yeah, the cloaks look good, huh? There's a lot of different kinds of them too, different colors. Chained to the smelter, yeah. Some of the mage, or healing cloaks look, pretty good. I can show you, what my PvP attire looks like. It looks a lot better than, the stuff I'm wearing. Look at that. A proper mage attire. Well, that looks more magey. I wish my PvE attire looked that good. But, again, the abilities you have are tied to the armor that you're wearing, so, I gotta look, less good in PvE. That's fine. Where am I going? Wait, you didn't say Koji was in your group. Can I go to the other group? No. I kid. I kid. The physics on the cloak is poor? You think so? I don't know. Better than most games I've played. But I'm not much of a skeptic when it comes to, like, things like animation. I mean, I can appreciate animation, but, like, I don't know what makes good animation and what doesn't. It's probably not as good as Star Cloak, I'll give you that. I mean, Star Cloth. No, I'm sure nothing can compete with Star Cloth. It's better than a World of Warcraft cloak, right? We're just gathering up here to level up some more people. And some more camps. All of our crafters and gatherers are coming out tonight. This is great. You'd argue WoW cloaks are better? Oh my gosh. I think they're terrible compared. Star animation, yeah. Star physics. I just want to know when we're all going to be living in star reality. You know what I mean? When am I just going to get the implant and just jack in to star reality? Collection, do you need spirit pots? No, I didn't know that. Soon, TM. Easier to animate 5 pixels worth of cloak? That's true. Probably. WoW sucks the big one. I will say that it's pretty amazing how the artwork of WoW stood the test of time. Like, even if you go back and play WoW Classic, I don't know. Just because of... there's something about the art style that makes it kind of... I don't know. Classic, for lack of a better word. Like, it's still not terrible to look at. I mean, obviously, it's much lower fidelity, and... Like, I would much rather be playing this. This looks way better to me. But if you compare WoW to other games of that time period, I think WoW aged better than many. I don't know how they do that. I don't know such things. Was made for potatoes? That's true. That's one reason that people cite Star Citizen won't scale its player base like WoW did. And some of the videos I've released where I argue that, you know, Star Citizen... The video I put out recently where I said Star Citizen could be the first game for almost everybody. A lot of the retorts that I got were like, no way, because people are not going to be able to run it like they ran WoW, right? Like WoW could run on basically anything. I don't know that that was true when WoW launched, for what it's worth. I remember people who could not run WoW whenever it launched. Like, the system requirements for WoW when it launched were basically like any other game at the time. Now, over time, they did not increase, and it became easier and easier to run, and yeah, you could run on a potato. But I don't think that was true at its inception and its release. And I don't think it'll be true at Star Citizen's release either. Obviously, there's going to be some pretty hefty system requirements. What that looks like a decade after its release or 5 years after its release, who knows? It really depends on how aggressively they try to keep up with the times. You know, WoW did not, and so it became potato-like and very easy to run. But I also think there's a lot of other forces at play that could open up a heavy game like Star Citizen to a broader audience that didn't exist back then. Things like cloud gaming, you know, as much as I would not want to play in the cloud, there seems to be people that will. Yeah, we'll see. Things are changing quick. But again, I also don't think that that's necessarily a roadblock to a large audience, because just look how many people are playing Battlefield 6 or Call of Duty 4 or whatever, right? There's a ton of players, and the system requirements on those games is not trivial. Like, it's not, they're not potato games, but they still have massive audiences. So I don't really buy the whole, you're not going to see a large audience because it can't run on a potato. I don't buy that at all. Gameplay-wise, though, there might have a point. Even my wife is interested in playing more when they have base building. Are you talking about Pax Dei, Wiggy? Or Star Citizen? On the base building and your wife? Or are you talking about the new WoW expansion? I know WoW is also adding house construction, decoration, ownership, that type of thing. They lost me with the bouncy elf ears. Stephen Kane, what are you talking about? Oh, Star Citizen? Yeah. That was the whole point I was making in that video, Wiggy. Like, there's going to be so many elements to the game that I think you're going to see for the first time, like, a really super diverse player base drawn together. I've talked to so many people who say the same thing. Like, there's a good friend of mine who runs a milsim group. His wife plays The Sims. Like, that's her main game, is The Sims. And his main game is Arma. He runs a milsim organization. But they both play Star Citizen. Just think about that. Pretty crazy, huh? You'd be surprised how few FPS you can get, even on modern WoW, if you load it up with weak cards and all the plugins. Oh, I would not be surprised, I know. It's insane. Why did I switch to mace? No, yeah, you ain't kidding, Zulius. I've played, what version? Played a little bit of Dragonflight after it released. I think 2 weeks I played it. And, you know, obviously the first 3 days or first 2 days was just setting up the UI with all the mods I needed to actually play the game, which is a freaking terrible experience. You know, I'm a software engineer and a systems guy, and for me, it's annoying as hell. I can't even imagine what it's like for, people who just want to jump in and play the damn game. But anyway, I was pretty amazed. I mean, I have a pretty strong system, you know. I got a 5090 Threadripper Pro, which is not a gaming CPU, I know, but I do a lot of non-gaming things on it. Anyway, even my system, I was getting less than 200 FPS, which was just insane for the age of the game. BMM when? I'm not sure what you're getting about, Suburban. BMM, what's that? Oh, Banu Merchant, man? Is that what you're talking about? You're funny. I wouldn't hold my breath. Yeah, when ready, that's right. Do I think PAX will see better combat magic? Yeah, I do. The developers, we had it in early access, right? Well, we didn't have everything. We had Fireball and some other stuff. I can't remember everything. But the developers indicated that they want to bring that stuff back. It's just a matter of why can they jump and I can't? There we go. But my understanding is the developers indicated they want to bring it back. They're just focused on the impact and balance it'll have. So yeah, I think it's right to be cautious. What we don't want is Lioness, the PvP zone, being some, you know, dodge roll, kite, fireball meta. That would be annoying as hell. I really like the visceral feel of the game right now. And so I think they need to be cautious and careful to maintain that. And I really think that's what they're doing. You know, I think I think this, for the size of this development team, I really think that it's impressive, the level of skill they have shown. You know, I've seen larger developer shops with less prowess. I'll just say that. So, I have confidence that we'll see better Magic. Timeline, I don't know. They have so much to do. And so much on their roadmap, and the team is small. I really hope these guys are seeing a ton of success on the financial side, which will allow them to expand the team and deliver things faster. That's my hope, because right now, the team's only... Well, at the time PAX launched, I believe the number of developers they had was in the range of 40. Which is insane. Sorry for the delays. I mean, responding to messages. I'm trying to make sure my party doesn't die while keeping up on the chat, so. I'd really like to get a chat overlay for my main screen. I gotta look into that. So that I can just like glance here. Right now I gotta glance at my second monitor, which is above this one. I'd really like to just be able to see it out my peripheral. My peripheral doesn't go vertical too well. Wiggy, she's not an FPS player, but it's cool enough with the base building that she wants to play it more. Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to see that far more broadly. You don't have to be an FPS player to enjoy, you know, shopping at the clothing stores either, or the furniture stores, or decorating your apartment. You know, buying yourself a jukebox and setting it up. All that stuff's in the game. I think my wife's gonna love that stuff too. Of course, my wife loves Pax Dei as well. She's our architect. She's the one building that castle I was showing you guys earlier. And I'm not a space sim guy, but 8 years later, here I am with a pair of sticks and a Tobii eye tracker. Oh my gosh, you and me both, Wiggy. I'm in the exact same boat. I have Verpals, I have a Tobii eye tracker, and I am not a flight sim guy. I'm more interested in the FPS. I lost you guys. Where'd you go? I'm with the other group. Oh, I see you. I see you. I'm coming. But yeah, I'm definitely more interested in the FPS gameplay, but here I am. I'm enjoying flying. I'm same boat as you, Wiggy. The ships are just amazing. Yeah, I made it out. I had eyes on you, and now I, everywhere I go, I run into the other group. Oh, no, I see code. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I love doing the jump heal orb. I don't know, something feels good about it. Like right here, watch this. It's the little things, right? I went to heal for Pax Dei groups, but I'm still a noob. Figuring it out. It's not that bad. We'll get the hang of it. Whoa! Avoid archers like that. They do so much damage to a healer. He's trying to assassinate me. I got an archer on me. I couldn't line of sight or that guy was going to take me out. Big heal, big heal. We might need to evacuate here. Code. Well, there you go. As a healer, it can go south quick. All it takes is one stray archer. As you saw, he almost had me dead with just 2 hits, so you can't really afford to expose yourself to an archer for any length of time as a healer. And if the tank doesn't round him up, the healer will get aggro on the archer instantly. Still missing sticks, slumming it with the beam eye tracker, and hoping that Planetech V5 on the Vulcan won't kill my GPU. Yeah. I know a lot of people, and there's a lot of people in our org that play mouse and keyboard. I like the sticks more for the immersion than I do for the effectiveness, if that makes sense. Just feels like I'm flying a spaceship, and I love it. I fly HOTAS, so stick and throttle. Obviously, stick and stick is superior, but I just feel the stick and throttle is more immersive for me, so that's what I run. I actually have a pre-order on a yoke from Verpal as well. They have a yoke in development. They had a Kickstarter on it a year ago. I think they got it started, and so I pre-ordered it. Who knows if I'll like it on that, but looking forward to trying a yoke. There's a lot of ships in the game that have yokes, and every time I sit down in one and I pilot, I'm like, that could be fun. I know it's definitely not going to be the combat meta or anything like that, but I just like trying shit, so. And I'm an input guy. I love trying different inputs, so look it out. If you're curious, we're doing 3 different yokes. I got the Constellation, which is the one they're doing that is designed for space flying. Has more axes than the other ones. Banu Merchant is one thing, but Endeavor, dude, who knows? I don't think we're anywhere near science gameplay. And as they said, they want the gameplay to exist before the ship comes out, so I think you're a ways off on the Endeavor. I don't think NPCs will be selling stuff on the Banu. I know it was sold that way, but I just don't see it. I don't know, Suburban. If they are Suburban, I expect it to be like shops in the cities, right? You'll have an NPC standing behind the counter, just making some small animations, but everybody will buy stuff through a terminal. That's what I would expect on the Banu. Just like, you know, Tammy and Sons or whatever. You're playing duo in Pax Dei, Wiggy? Oh, you and the missus? That's cool. That's awesome. Where are you, what server and region are you on, Wiggy? CR's vision is that players and NPCs should be as indistinguishable as possible. I know that's the vision. Having that vision and bringing that vision to life is 2 different things. It'll be interesting to see when that is. That could be a ways off, though. At that point, we might be jacking into star reality. Not sure when and how much he'll concede on that point under Rich Tyler's leadership. Yeah, I think I mean, that's the thing, like, that is definitely a dream they can always work towards. But how long it'll take to get there? You know, like I pointed out in that video, the first game for almost everyone, like I pointed out that, you know, 1.0 is just the beginning. We have a long road from 1.0 to what Chris is calling the ultimate version of Star Citizen. Like that, 1.0 to the ultimate version is a long road. And, you know, there's a lot of interim states along the way, so... How many years after 1.0 is... Will we get indistinguishable NPCs? I think a lot of that will depend on the progress of technology in general, not just in gaming or in Star Citizen, but more broadly. Like, obviously, we're beginning to see, you know, we're getting closer to that with AI, conversational aspects at least. We're starting to see Google able to bring avatars to life, and some other companies. I mean, that's the kind of technology they're going to need to make NPCs indistinguishable from players. It's not like you can just code a bunch of if-else branches and achieve that, you know what I mean? So... But, the way the technology exists today, it would be far too expensive to do it, so... I don't think it's anywhere remotely close to on the horizon. That's a far-off thing. Far, far off. I really just hope the player market takes a lot of notes from Star Wars Galaxy. I'm with you, human. I hope we see some amazing stuff on the Star Citizen market. I have a lot of ideas. I mean, my personal hope is that they just steal a lot from EVE Online. I know we don't want Star Citizen to be EVE 2.0, but EVE did a lot of things right when it came to the market. I never played Star Wars Galaxy, so I can't comment on my feelings on that. But I've heard a lot of people repeat that sentiment, so I'm assuming it was good. For those of you wondering why I spam this crappy staff attack, it's because it regens mana. It's not because the damage I'm doing. Although it does some damage. The more important fact is that that's how I regen my mana. It's hard to go out of mana when you don't heal code. I'm just giving the guys shit. They're complimenting me on my mana consumption. Superman punch, but heal. Yeah. Two-handed spear is good for a quick healer save? Yeah, I'm with you. We have a guy in the group I normally run with that runs two-handed spear. They have a lot of ways to control the fight. And defend somebody, like you're saying. You're also good at chasing people down lioness and flipping them back into the group for a satisfying kill. Human, the Hercules has a yoke? Yeah. A lot of them do. Some of the Origin ships have yokes. I'm pretty sure my main daily driver, the Freelancer Max, has a yoke. 99% sure of that. Question. I don't know, Rosie. That's a conundrum. Guess you gotta send him a message. Hoping to get either VKBs or Verpal Aeromax. The budget is too tight. What? I'm not familiar with the Aeromax. Is Aeromax something new? I've been on the Verpal site quite a bit. But, haven't seen that one. Haven't been there in a few months. I haven't been shopping recently. I'm content with my setup, but I have been on the Verpal forums. That's where I'm tracking the progress on their yoke project. They gave, anybody who backed on the Kickstarter, they gave them like forum access to this one thread, so I just go there once in a while. Haven't been to the site in a bit. Wiggy US server, not the RP. And Shira Mary, yeah, okay. If you're in the US non-RP, then you're on our server. That's Celine. But you're in Mary. That's one of the most populated zones. I think that's number 2 behind Caries. But we're on Iniscalia. So you're a portal away from us. If it works out as expected, Star System will probably never have an ultimate state. There will always be new ideas for improvements, new tech to make use of. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, you could say that for the MMOs that are still going after 20 years today, right? Like, you could say EVE Online doesn't have an ultimate state, nor does World of Warcraft. They're all still growing and expanding and implementing new things for better or worse. Hopefully Star Citizens is always for the better. I feel kind of out of place with this plain old brown Founder's Cloak. All these fancy yellow ones. Aeromax Cadet is their new entry line. They just officially announced the left stick for it. Nice. I gotta check that out. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't need to spend more money. I should not check that out. Alright, what's different about it? What's different about the Aeromax? Is it a step up from the Constellation series? No, you're right, they don't. I mean, that's what makes CIG and Star Citizen what makes the project so insanely awesome. Because they are innovating. None of the others are going to do that. They're just going to do it safe, and what the bean counters predict will generate the most revenue. That's what they're going to do. Nothing more. Most revenue with the least risk. But CIG's incentives are very different. They are incentivized to take risk and shoot for the moon because of the funding model. They need to earn our desire to invest. And so the incentives are properly aligned there. While companies like Blizzard and those like them, their incentives are aligned with their shareholders, who want to see steady growth on their portfolios, so their interests are no longer seemingly aligned with players. I think that's short-sighted. It's a problem that a lot of public companies in America have, sadly. Blizzard's certainly not alone in having that problem. You see the same stuff with various other public companies. I mean, look at Microsoft or Amazon, you know. Like, once you get to that size, innovation usually comes through acquisition. You let somebody else take the risk and then you purchase it. Of course, Microsoft is trying that in its gaming division, and it's not working out for them for some reason. They keep buying companies and killing them off. I don't understand what's going on there. I'd have to spend some more time thinking about it. But I just don't care enough. I'm hiding from the bowman. Oh my gosh, see that? He just hit me for 1,500. There you go, if you want to heal, just stay out of line of sight of bowman. Aeromax no competition for the alphas? Okay. Oh, that's their entry offering? That's cool. They need something like that to compete with the likes of I'm drawing a blank on the name of some of their competitors now. VKB, thank you. Yeah, they really need something to compete with VKB. Seems to me like VKB is eating their lunch. Because they have multiple kind of tiers of products. I was actually looking at a VKB throttle. They have an Omni throttle. That thing looks insane for somebody like me who loves the throttle. I have a Virpil throttle. Obviously, I just went on Virpil, but I was very tempted by the VKB Omni throttle. In the end, I decided against it only because, well, for one, I have that vehicle in pre-order, and two, I just don't want to go multi-brand. I think it would mess up my ambiance. But I'm very jealous of the BKB Omni throttle. I will say that. You just got the VKB glass with the Omni throttle on the left. You love it? Oh man, I'm jealous, Wiggy. That Omni throttle looks so badass. I actually, in a moment of weakness, I tried to pre-order it. Or order the Omni throttle, but it was right after the whole tariff situation went into effect, and VKB actually stopped shipping to America for a while there. So that's the only thing that saved me from spending money. You can get it now again, but yeah, that's the only reason I don't have an Omni throttle right now. And since then, I've developed willpower. We're porting home, but I got a 1 minute cooldown on my port. What you up to, Code? I'm just waiting on my cooldown. I got a minute left on porting home. Yeah, I got 28 seconds. I mean, we're really not even far. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll just parse anyway. I know, seriously? Except there's a big freaking mountain. I don't want to try to traverse that thing. Yeah, mine's up now. Want to get out of here, Code? I'm going. What Virpil need is to stop screwing their US customers. I'm in the EU and things are okay here, but my US friends who have orders with them keep telling me 6 months of delays. Yeah, I had to wait 3 months for mine. I didn't consider it screwing. I mean, they told me at the time that I placed the order that it was going to be an indefinite amount of time, so I placed the order knowing that. But yeah, it took me 3 months to get them. Now, I will say I had a problem with one of my sticks. Whenever I contacted them, they had me a replacement within a week. So, the support's good. After the Thrustmasters for years, they feel great. Yeah. Price point, quality, modularity buttons. It's hard to beat VKB. Virpil's top options are a step up with metal construction, but it's almost a 600 to 900 gap in the NXT Evos and the Alpha Primes. Yeah, for sure. I do like the way they feel, but yeah, I mean, VKB seems pretty on par to me from what I've seen. Anytime, man. Thanks for putting a group together. So what's going on with this alt thing? We are. Yeah. Where are you taking the alts? You can keep mine still. Something constructive we can be doing with our alts, zombie. There's a big guild group taking alts into a dungeon at the moment. The idea is that you can park them in there and farm some stuff in the dungeon routinely. You have to message Code G in the guild is helping people. Yeah, I'm not leveling another character. I'm personally going to be sticking my alts in other regions so that I can search markets, because when you bring up the market interface like this, well, you can't even see it, but the market interface, whenever you bring it up, it only searches the home valley that you're in. You cannot see anything beyond your home valley, so what I'm going to do is stick my alts in other home valleys so that I can do market reconnaissance, or however you say the damn word. So that's what I'll be using my alts for. And also for advertising our market. I'll stay anywhere there and search our markets and advertise ours. I'll do double duty. And maybe pump out some recruiting messages. Do you need help getting people in their code? That's what I'm saying, you need me to help? That's what I'm saying, I don't want to run mine either, but I'll help if escort if you need. Wiggy, how much a wrought iron chopping axe going for over there? I sell out quick every time I post them. We're posting them for 200 Wiggy. We can supply as many as people need. Pax Dei have any kind of public API? No. Sadly, it does not. The Pax Dei database, it was maintained by Andane as an API. And the Pax Dei database, I think, gets a lot of its information from the game files. So, that's the closest thing you can get to an API. And obviously, that's just going to get you access to the crafting recipes and that kind of stuff. It's not going to get you access to any real-time game information. There's nothing like that. I would love to see more games with that. Like EVO Online has a pretty robust API. Another game that just came out recently that has a very robust API is Bitcraft Online. They basically have their entire game API exposed to the public. They've even got it set up so that the public can write code to control things in the MMO. So like, for example, if you have a chest or a door and you want to govern access to the chest or the door, you can actually write code that performs the authentication steps. So you could actually authenticate door access off of your own web service. Just as an example, or maybe your Discord roles or something like that. Pretty wild. I would love to see more games doing that. That type of thing. Especially Star Citizen. That would be incredible. But that is not a simple thing to do. You get into all kinds of trust issues with running code. You got to sandbox it. It's just, you know. Pax Dei database sounds like something you could hook a Discord bot with an element to. Yeah, probably. You can do that. Ask it questions that it can answer. You could assemble and do all the math and stuff for you. If you want to know how many materials it might take to go to the next 5 levels, I'm sure you could get the LM to answer that kind of stuff. Yep, repair. Dang. Went through this staff quick. Hell yeah, I was hoping CIG would offer OAuth source at some point. Even just for stuff like easier tracking of IC reports and the like, yeah. I would love that, Zulis. Yeah, again, EVO Online really set a pretty high bar there with the in-game APIs. Rodell, new here. Hey, welcome. Thanks for stopping by, man. How much is the sub to maintain the base? Well, this base is maintained by a bunch of people. But my sub is... I mean, I got the 4 plot sub, so I'm paying 18 a month. I don't know how many people contributed plus to this, honestly. But each person involved is paying, you know, whatever size. You know, as little as... I think the cheapest plot sub is $7 a month, and the biggest is 18 a month, so everybody's paying within that range. Again, I don't know how many people have plots devoted to this. Probably, do I have a build tool? Let me get a build hammer. Let me get an idea. When you pull a build hammer out, you can see the names of the plots, and you can see the plot boundaries. So now you can go into F10 mode, zoom out, and you can see all the plots dedicated to the castle. Alright, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, it's this whole valley as well, like all these plots. Like I said earlier, we have claimed this entire valley. So there's actually more plots outside the castle than there are assigned to the castle. And all these plots are tied to subscriptions. So the actual castle, the back of it is where you see those 4 archways. That's going to be the back of the castle, and then it goes to the front. So I don't know. I'm guessing. As you can see, the plots like overlap multiple buildings and stuff, but looks like about 20 plots, give or take. Something in that range. That would be 5 of the 4 plot subscriptions. So you'd be looking at, I don't know, 80, 90 bucks, something like that. But again, I don't know. You know, some people might only have 1 plot thrown in there. Other people might have 4. Other people 2 or 3. Like, so there's no way of knowing like what it costs per person. We have a lot of people in our guild. Our guild is, I don't even know, 150, 200 people. So you figure 20 plots, depending on how many total plots our guild has, our guild's going to have anywhere between, you know, 200 and 800 plots total, somewhere in there. I have no idea how much. So 20 plots for the castle is like 5% of our total plots. Kind of a drop in the bucket. I love the game. Raw. I'm having a blast. It's I've been playing every single day. That's why my YouTube channel has been missing content last week. Don't worry, I'm gonna crawl out from under my rock this week and actually get some videos posted. The first week I was averaging 15 hours a day. The second week I got back to my real job, and so I was averaging less, like 6 to 8 hours a day. But there's still so much more to do. Got a lot of good PvP out in Lioness. Got a lot of good content. Farming dungeons for some of our higher end items already. Yeah. We had like an army of like 40 people out in Lioness just yesterday. That was a ton of fun. We marched around the entire zone, steamrolled over a few other clans in the process. Unlocked the teleports for everybody. Put this hammer back in here. But yeah. I don't know, if you have any specific questions, Rob, I'd be happy to answer to it, but TLDR, I'm playing it a lot and I'm enjoying myself. Combat's been fun. It's come a long way since I played in early access. There's a substantial amount of depth to it. There's decisions to be made and how you build your character and how you gear your character, which makes it fun and interesting, and there's a lot of there's a healthy loop in just maintaining your gear because, you know, it wears out. It breaks. You can lose it. depending on what game modes you're engaging in. Yeah, instead of just all plate, like in early access, times 2 cloth, 2 leather, 2 plate, and a healer, yeah. Yep. I was all plate in early access too, but now I'm wearing cloth head, chest, pants, and then I'm wearing heavy boots, bracers, gloves. I'm a mix, but I go back and forth actually between cloth boots and heavy boots. The heavy boots I'm running have the faster movement buff, but the cloth ones have spirit regen, which is nice whenever you're healing. Just reminded me I needed to get an updated pair of boots. Yeah, Surging Stride is what's on the heavy boots that I wear. It gives you 28% movement speed increase at the cap versus 20%, but it builds up. But then it lasts 15 seconds, so pretty nice. You run the spirit boots on the spirit gain helmet. Yeah, I run spirit boots in PvE. In PvP, I run the heavy ones. I'm never gonna need a ton of spirit in PvP, but I stopped running the spirit helm in PvE because I needed to run the Purify Self one. In PvE, I switched to the Absolution for the Purify Self spell because I found that there's a lot of mobs that do damage over time, which will interrupt certain heal abilities, and so I gotta wear that hat to cleanse myself so I can get the big heals off in a pinch. But I missed the spirit hat. How flexible is the Pax Dei gear system for hybrids like Paladin builds? Yeah, it's super flexible. If you want to run full plate with a healing weapon, you can. Again, it's just the abilities that you're trading off. Like if you want to run a healing staff with all plate, you know, you would have more defensive. Like the 4 abilities on the right, you would have more defensive capabilities, or even, you know, whatever. So now some of the problem is like you wouldn't want to tank with a healing staff because healing staffs cannot block. It's the only weapon in the game, well, aside from the bow, that cannot block. So if you really wanted to run something paladin-y, you'd probably go like sword and board, heavy plate. You might mix in like a, I don't know, you might want to mix in some cloth pieces for some healing. Like there's a cloth chest that will give a big heal to the group and actually a healing buff on everybody. I don't know. Good question. I haven't explored plate all that much. I've been focused on healer since I hit the ground running, so. Playing around with the melee immunity chest, nice. Yeah, I just I got that. That's what I'm running in PvP, Wiggy. Is the divine shield. Plate has some healing pants. There you go. Nice to know. I think leather has some healing pants too, but it's like self-healing. Like you hit stuff to regen health or something like that. I'm gonna wrap this stream up in probably 10 minutes or so, but I did want to put this out there for anybody looking for a home. We are always recruiting. That's a link directly to our Discord. We also have a website you can check out. I think you'll find us a bunch of good people that you can enjoy any game loop you want with. If you're a hardcore PvPer, we got some people you'll love hanging out with. If you're like you're going out hitting rocks and wood, we got people you'd love hanging out with. If you want to run dungeons, we got people you'd love hanging out with. We got it all. We also got some econ geeks, of which I'm an honorable guest of. I can get sent to some game econ. Yeah, so we got all kinds of stuff going on. Even if you don't want to join us, if you just want to hang out and chat, join the Discord. There's channels on the Discord that you can use for chatting on these live streams like this. And Pax Day is not all we do. There's some people in the chat here that are also from our Star Citizen chapter. We got a bunch of people playing Star Citizen every single day. We do our big ops on Saturdays. Like I said earlier, this coming weekend, I'm hoping to do a Star Citizen stream on Saturday, so you can get a feel for what that looks like with our group. Look forward to that. So we also got some people playing Ashes of Creation, kind of. That game's in a bit of a lull right now. Is anybody else out there interested in Ashes of Creation? I'd love to hear what your current status is, if so. Everybody seemed to hibernate in anticipation of the summoner. I think there's a genuine or general kind of concern that they're going to do another wipe. So that chapter's on a little bit of a hiatus at the moment. Also, the state of the game and the game economy in Phase 3 was horrible. Just running in a duo at the moment. I try to stay from big plate armor because they add more aggro, and my wife isn't sword and board tanking. Yeah, heavy plate in this game has innate aggro generation. That's a good point, Wiggy. It's not not the most intuitive thing for people in general. This is what I do when I'm waiting for the next thing to happen. I just run in circles around these freaking chests. Don't ask me why. I gotta take my hands off the keyboard. Yeah. So no Ashes players in the audience, huh? Crazy. Ashes of Creation was talked about first around Arcade, and now I might be more hyped for release of the new Arcade than I am the still unreleased Ashes. Yeah. Yeah, it's been in development for a while. But par for the course these days. Everybody's chasing fidelity, and fidelity is expensive to develop. I don't know much about. I didn't play Arcade. I didn't play the original one. I don't know much about the new one, so I can't comment on that. But I think if PAX executes well, Ashes might have some stiff competition. They're going to be competing in the same area for the same types of players, you know. Players who love PvP, full loot, that kind of thing. Although Ashes is not going full loot, but no, not really. But it's gonna be interesting. Good interesting times ahead for MMO players. Finally. um yeah. Well, it was fun hanging out with everybody and chatting tonight. Hope you enjoyed the banter as much as I did, and watching us run like maniacs from pools that were too large. Hopefully I didn't embarrass myself too much with my healing. I'm still skilling up too. I haven't played it. I mean, I've been going hard since launch, but it had been 9 months since I played before that. So I definitely felt like I was relearning the systems as well. Yeah, getting back into it. Again, I should have 2 videos coming out this week. So if you follow the channel, check them out. One is going to be a deep dive into instancing, which was talked about pretty heavily at the last CitizenCon Direct. A lot of people requested we talk about that. So that'll be one of my more technical whiteboardy videos, probably. Haven't had one of those in a little bit. The other video to be announced. And then Saturday, yeah, should be live streaming Star Citizen gameplay. So, should be a good week. Looking forward to it. Would love to see you all out for the next live stream and in the comments of those videos coming out this week. Until then, Rollo out. Have a great night, all.